Welcome to Boy Time Podcast. We're gonna get litty time, yeah. Oh, it's your Boy Time Podcast. Coming in with the slam dunk of a theme song.
Hi ho ho, it's me, John Carpenter, back at it again with a new episode of the Boy Time Podcast. And as always, I'm joined by Babby and Paul. That's how you start a podcast. I don't care how all the chumps at HeadGum do it, or I can't think of another podcast studio. MailChimp?
Spotify Studios.
Spotify Studios. Earwolf?
Audio Jungle.
Audio Jungle? Isn't that a royalty-free audio source?
I don't think it's royalty free, but yeah.
Oh, okay. It's a stock audio source.
Yeah.
These are the important conversations that people come to our podcast for. We have a lot to talk about this week. We have a lot of news, a lot of gaming news. Not a whole lot of other news. But then I watched, what did I watch? 4 feature films and 7, 8 short films, and I want to talk about them. I did a little bit of a film festival.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just watched 1.5 seasons of Twin Peaks in 12 hours.
Well, that sounds
Not healthy.
No.
It was really fun, though.
Well, if it was the first season, then that's pretty fun. The second season gets a little iffy.
We stopped right when the James weird mom thingy arc started, so we stopped at a good part.
Yes, that is exactly where you want to stop when you're watching Twin Peaks. Basically, when you're watching Twin Peaks, you get up through the Laura Palmer stuff, and then right after that, stop watching.
Just skip a couple episodes,
and
then come back.
Yeah. I don't know, well, I'm sure you know this, but when David Lynch was making Twin Peaks, you were never supposed to find out who killed Laura Palmer.
And Wyndham Earl was not supposed to exist.
No. So that whole second season really just kind of goes against everything David Lynch wanted. And then when he made the movie, then he kind of was like, okay, fine, I'll do it, but I'm going to do it my way. And he made it
Show's still goated, though. It's better on a second watch. There's a lot of little Easter eggs.
Yes. I remember, because I saw the first season before we watched it, and I was really, really digging it. And then the second season kind of ruined it for me. But that's just me.
And you're stupid.
I'm stupid. I just watched a bunch of artsy movies. I watched a David Lynch movie this weekend.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's talk about gaming, because we always talk about gaming. So we'll get, I think the most exciting thing, we'll get that right out of the way. Among Us VR got a release date, and it's November 10th. It's like 3 weeks away.
I gotta bust out the VR, brother.
I know. We're gonna get so sus.
We're gonna get very sus.
It's going to be so much fun. Have we ever played Among Us?
No.
Okay. This is going to be good. This will be going up on our 5th channel. It's going to be called Boy Time Gaming.
Sus time.
But first we have to start our astronomy channel and
our...
I forgot what the 4th one was.
Borat channel.
Borat channel.
We do Borat analysis.
That's right. We'll work on those, and then eventually we'll start making a gaming channel, which is actually something that theoretically we could do,
but don't
do it anymore.
Yeah.
Even though you can still watch those videos.
You can still watch them if you can figure out the secret YouTube puzzle.
The secret YouTube puzzle. If you just go in our playlists.
Yeah.
Then they're all there. Which is a very handy tool. I noticed that when I was watching Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst series, they had some videos that were unlisted. And so I was able to see some secret videos in their playlists. Cool. One of them was removed because they did a video with, I think his name is Max Landis. And Max Landis, huge sex pest.
Oh.
So they had to remove that video. But that was the video where they reviewed Double Down, and I felt they needed to keep that up because it's one of the best things I've ever seen. But just remove Max Landis out of that. Back to gaming. We already talked that Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming to PC. It's coming 1 week after Among Us, so basically nobody's going to play it. It's coming out November 18th. Exciting stuff. We got news on a new Silent Hill game. It's actually going to be announced the day we post this on October 19th. Is this going to be the Silent Hills that was going to come out of PT? Probably not. But maybe, I don't know. Konami might just try to resurrect that Kojima project and be like, hey, we did it. Remember this? Or they're making a Silent Hill TV series. That's what I thought at first. Because they said, we're going to talk about the future of the Silent Hill series. And I'm like, oh, are they making a Silent Hill show? But I think they were talking about the game. But also, can't be too sure nowadays. I don't think anyone here cares about Silent Hill, so kind of falling on deaf ears. But you know what everyone does love is Bethesda.
True.
Oh, yeah, me.
Bethesda did a little breakdown. They announced how many voice lines are going to be in Starfield and compared that to how many... Two voice lines. It's just going
That's
to
two more than
many.
Fallout 76.
That's true. That is true. But they announced the number alongside Skyrim's number and Fallout 4's number, so I will do that the same. Skyrim has 60,000 voice lines in it. Fallout 4 has 111,000 voice lines in it. And then Starfield has more than double that, 252,953 voice lines. Weirdly specific when the other ones were not. So you know that means that they're going to be doing a whole lot of automated animation, which everyone knows is my favorite thing in the whole wide world. But I'll play it on Game Pass. I'm not going to pay for it, but, you know. Let's talk about controversy. We have some controversy to talk about. We have two gaming controversies. Everybody is angry. Everybody's up in arms. Everybody's going to kill Nintendo and Warner Brothers for multiple reasons, but we'll get to that later. First one, the Nintendo beef. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there is...
I have.
Oh, okay. Well, then this will be fun.
Thanks, Reddit.
Thanks, Reddit. This is a Reddit moment.
Shout out to Reddit.
Shout out Reddit. Small.
I do not affiliate with the rest of the members of this.
So there's some beef because Bayonetta 3 is coming out relatively soon. I think in the next couple of weeks. Tomorrow? Oh, that's crazy.
Probably.
Oh, I don't.
I don't know. I spread misinformation on the internet.
I try so hard to get some.
Yeah, you try so hard, and we just do nothing.
It's
People
actually
doing it, that's their problem.
it's next week, the 28th of October.
Okay.
Bayonetta's original voice actor, I'm probably not gonna. It's Helena Taylor. Helena. I don't know. It's one of those. She was replaced in Bayonetta 3. Originally, Nintendo put out a statement that said this was due to scheduling conflicts. This was a lie.
Ooh.
Helena Taylor came forward with a video this week urging fans to boycott the upcoming game as Nintendo only offered her $4,000 to play the character, the lead character in their game. They wanted to pay her $4,000 for probably months' work of prep and like learning the script, doing it. Not good. I'm sure Charles Martinet gets way more than that, and he just goes, wahoo! Bayonetta actually talks. And
yeah, it's not like most Nintendo games where they just go wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, this is like an actual thing. I don't know if it's a Nintendo game, if it's just distributed by Nintendo.
I think it's distributed by Nintendo.
Okay. So And then I saw that the voice actor that replaced her was basically like, voice actors deserve more. I'm under multiple NDAs, so I cannot talk very specifically about this issue, but voice actors deserve more. And then a bunch of people were like, "Yay,
True.
yas, queen, preach." Yeah, it's kind of shitty. Nintendo, you should be paying your voice actors more. The fact that people still think that voice actors are lesser than traditional actors, get out of here with that. It takes just as much work, if not more, because you got to do mocap nowadays.
Yeah. If you want to know what like non-voice actors sound like, look at like YouTube videos of people making their own like animated shorts, but they don't hire voice actors and do it themselves. You can tell.
Yes, voice acting is incredibly difficult.
It's incredibly difficult.
Yes, and I'm glad that, like, for the most part, I feel like most people.
Or you
kind
can just
of are
watch the
starting to
Mario
recognize-
trailer and just look at Bowser compared to Mario.
Yes, Jack Black is a very, very talented voice actor.
Yeah.
And has done a lot of voice
And
acting
Chris
work.
Pratt is a mediocre white man.
Yes,
My
he's
favorite
fine.
flavor.
He's fine as an actor.
That's his MO is just he's fine.
He's fine. He's
So
a little
fine.
charismatic, but he does not bring a lot to the table. I think the best thing he's in was Parks and Rec, and that was when he was a nobody. And then ever since he's gotten fame after the Guardian stuff, it's just all been downhill from there.
True.
But yeah, Nintendo, pay your people more. I guess you could just say that across the board, because there have been a lot of worker stuff coming out of Nintendo of America, which I am not going to get into because I don't know enough about it. But there you go. Next controversy: Gotham Knights, everybody's favorite game, favorite Batman game that doesn't have Batman in it.
I love Batman.
I love Batman too. We'll talk about more Batman stuff later, but there was big controversy. Gotham Knights, it's coming to PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 5. No last gen systems, so no Xbox Ones, no PS4s. I don't think people are super upset about that. People are upset that the console ports are locked to 30 FPS, even in performance mode.
They probably have to be at this point.
No, most PS5 games is you can either do like the 4K resolution at 30 FPS or you can do 1080p at 60.
Yeah, I'm talking like for the old consoles though.
Oh, for the old consoles, yeah. But they aren't coming to the old consoles.
Oh,
the
so they're
new
that is weird,
consoles
that is
are
weird.
locked into
Yeah.
30 FPS. It doesn't matter what.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's a weird move. The developers tried to justify it by saying, well, it's a co-op game. We needed to lock it into 30 FPS because of that. I don't believe that.
I think it takes 2 runs really smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the real reason is. My guess is that they had to cut stuff because it was rushed. Because it's been delayed twice. And at this point, they probably had to cut stuff to get it out on that release date. So, yeah, people are upset, which they have a right to be. I saw people were canceling pre-orders. So, do what you
Don't
want.
pre-order video games anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a lost art. I've been burned too many times.
You get cool skin.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
not
true.
worth it. They usually just re-release that stuff anyways.
Yeah. I usually, if I do pre-order something, it's not like months and months in advance. It's like a week where it's like, I want to make sure that I can pick it up the day that I go. Like I usually do Best Buy because you can pre-order something and then like pick it up at 10 a.m. And then you can just like walk over to the counter. It's really easy. Because I like getting physical stuff now. I've become that guy. I used to be a
You-
digital only guy, and now I'm all about that physical media, which makes it very difficult when you're into bad movies because shit's expensive. So I have to cut myself off because if I go scrolling on Vinegar Syndrome's website, then I'm gonna end up paying like $2,000 a year, and that would not be good, especially because I don't have that much money. So there you go. There's your gaming stuff. VR gaming news. Mark Zinkenberg came out with a new video. Legs.
Let's go.
Yo, they added legs to
love
the
legs.
metaverse. You know, they only added it so you could get digital pants with crypto bucks.
That's even better, actually.
I don't know.
Monetizing legs is a great invention.
Yeah, I would say so. But the big thing that they announced is the Quest Pro. Pre-orders are up. So if you have $1,500 just burning a hole in your pocket, hey, get the Meta Quest Pro. It seems like it's more for work. It does not seem like this is a gaming one.
They're trying to push this like virtual workplace. I don't think it's ever gonna work.
I don't know when this would be
clunky.
feasible.
Yeah, it's so clunky.
It's so Silicon Valley, where I could see this getting adopted by like a .com business in Silicon Valley.
You need like the Google Glass for that stuff, so you're not wearing a physical headset all day.
Well, the thing that's interesting about this one is that the cameras are like really good. So like when you put it on, it isn't like you're in like the black void and then it's like
Yeah.
a screen. Like what you're looking at is just like the room, and then you can have like windows up on your vision.
Just having the physical headset up is just
Yeah,
annoying, though.
it is.
not
I'm
very
not
productive.
advocating for this. I'm speaking devil's advocate. And then he announced rather excitedly that Microsoft Teams, Word,
Legs
Excel,
too.
and PowerPoint are coming to Quest VR.
Oh, I can't wait to do an Excel spreadsheet in VR.
Imagine doing a spreadsheet.
God, we are in such a dystopia.
Yeah, I love making PowerPoints.
You wanna be a corporate office desk worker slave for the rest of your life? Now you can do it in VR. Look at how cool that is. You can punch spreadsheets in there for like 9 hours every day, but you could be in VR when doing it.
That's pretty sick.
It's pretty cool.
Like,
Yeah. But what is cool is that they showed Beat Saber running, and it was awesome.
Yo.
It was just like they got rid of all the cool backgrounds and stuff, and they just made it your room.
Oh, so it's just augmented.
Yeah,
reality
it's
Beat
so
Saber.
awesome.
That is kind of cool. I like having augmented stuff. But
I do too. It's not worth $1,500 if you ask me.
God no.
Also in VR news, Iron Man VR. Something
Iron
I think I talked about. I don't
wanna
remember.
Be Tony Stark.
I
Maybe.
would love to be Tony Stark. That comes out in a couple weeks, November 3rd. So all of you Iron Man heads are going to be getting a cool Iron Man game to the Quest only. It's like those
That's
Star
me.
Wars games.
oh, I don't have Quest though.
What? You will die. Well, I mean, it's probably the same store, I imagine.
Oh, if it's the Oculus store, then yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. And that's pretty much it for gaming news. I did want to briefly talk about an interview that John Carpenter did. John Carpenter, for those who don't know, probably one of the best horror filmmakers of all time. I don't feel like I need to have a question mark there. I feel like that's a
No, I
statement.
feel like that's just a definitive statement.
He made Halloween, The Thing. Did he make The Mist? May have made The Mist.
The Mist.
I mean, like, those are two great horror movies right there. But he also did, like, Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China. And, I feel like I should know more John Carpenter movies. Whatever. For those who don't know, John Carpenter is a huge nerd. He stopped making movies to
Nerd.
start making synth records, which is primarily what he does right now.
That's like the number one cool old guy thing to do.
Yeah, same thing David Lynch did.
Yeah, exactly.
But he famously did the scores for a lot of his movies, and he was mostly disconnected from these Halloween movies that have been coming out. But this new one, they got John Carpenter back to do the score. I've heard great things about it. John Carpenter's always killed it when it comes to scores. So he did an interview, and he is very interested in making a video game score, but no one has asked him.
Someone ask him.
Someone ask him. He would be absolutely killer. He also expressed interest in making a Dead Space movie. That's the only way I'd want a an adaptation of a video game as if like some big director like that was like, I want to do this. Like if Guillermo del Toro came out and was like, I want to make a Gran Turismo movie, I'd be like, yes, Guillermo, I will watch that movie. Not that Guillermo del Toro would, because I don't think he's a gamer, but John Carpenter apparently is. There is this funny quote because the interviewer was talking to him about the state of modern horror, and especially elevated horror, which is like A24 horror movies, like Hereditary, The Witch, Midsummer, stuff like that. The interviewer asked, "Are you familiar with the phrase elevated horror?" Carpenter says, "I don't know what that means. I mean, I can guess what it means, but I don't really know." Interviewer says, "People usually use it to refer to A24's movies. Horror that's very heavy on the metaphorical. Hereditary, Midsummer, movies like that." And then John Carpenter said, "I have no idea what you're talking about." So, yeah, it seems about right. I implore everyone, if you're not driving right now, to pull up a photo of John Carpenter and what he looks like right now. It's exactly how you imagine. Some weird
I'm currently driving.
old horror guy. Seems like a nice guy, though. So, we'll see. We do have to talk about some miscellaneous things. We'll get through those.
Boring ones.
We don't usually like to get political here, but I am very happy that Alex Jones has to pay a lot of money to Sandy Hook families.
Let's go.
About $1 billion. So
$1 billion.
$1 billion. I was doing the pinky thing, like the guy from Austin Powers. Yeah, that's good. That's all I need to say about that.
Biting political commentary.
You're
so
as
good
always.
at that.
Did you say Biden?
Biden political
Biden's
commentary.
political
Can't believe you would bring Biden into this pod.
Biden is the one.
Biden my time.
Biden's the one that made Alex Jones get arrested. You didn't hear that from me, though.
You just lost the radical me.
I'm sorry. Let's talk about Warner Brothers Discovery shenanigans. We got round 2, baby. Oh, you thought that the first round was bad? Oh, they got the 1-2 punch. They're following through. We got another round of layoffs. Apparently, it's just as big as the one that happened earlier this year. They tried to shut down a bunch of things. They tried to shut down workshops for women and people of color. The Directors Guild said you cannot do that. Otherwise, we will blacklist you from our union. So they did not do that.
Unions.
Good choice.
Yeah. I'm glad for that. And it was of course, Warner Brothers didn't say anything about that. The Directors Guild had to come out and say they tried to do this. Everybody, please be aware that they tried to do this.
Yep.
Cartoon Network, is it gone? Is it still here?
Finally.
Hard to say.
It's in some weird third stage.
It's in some weird limbo.
Yeah.
So basically, the report came out earlier this week that Cartoon Network, the animation studio, has been quasi shut down / merged with Warner Brothers Animation. It's up in the air as to where it's at. I don't know. I have not been able to find a clear source here. So that kind of led to people jumping the gun saying that Cartoon Network was getting shut down. That doesn't appear to be the case. Cartoon Network set out a tweet that says, "We're not going anywhere. We have been and always will be your home for beloved innovative cartoons. More to come soon." I think they're hitting their 35th anniversary or something, so they were trying to drum up support, and then this happened. So I'll keep you posted on what happens with Cartoon Network stuff, but I don't know. We're in a weird spot right now. I was thinking about that this week, where it's like, if you would have asked me like a year ago which of like the major studios was the best, I probably would have said Warner Brothers, with all of their HBO Max stuff, doing theaters and HBO Max at the same time, really letting their superhero stuff be a little bit all over the place and not the same thing over and over again like Marvel is. And now they've done a complete 180, where I think now they are the worst. At least from an artistic standpoint. I think ethically, maybe Disney or Amazon
Ethically, all these
Studios.
companies are garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about that Warner Brothers has done up until this point that has been ethically sus. But
Well, I won't say that.
If you look at any company, yeah.
well, yeah.
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 There's a cool little pipeline where everything will lead back to a weapons manufacturer with the U.S. giant conglomerates. So just don't look too far into anything.
I will not. Disney would never buy a gun.
Yeah, Disney would never support things that go against the interest of literally anybody.
Yeah, that seems.
Don't look up Walt Disney Nazi on Google.
Do not. Do not do it.
Do it right now.
Wait, Walt Disney was Jewish.
Don't do it.
I won't. Wait.
Literally doing it live reaction.
Oh, I did not.
I don't know what you'll find. I'm just assuming there's going to be something.
I did not even type anything close to that because I was making it exaggerated so the mic would pick it up.
Yeah, so the mic will pick it up.
Nah, he's lying. He typed exactly that.
When I searched Walt Disney Nazi, all I'm getting is the Donald Duck
the
propaganda cartoon.
Yeah.
Neo-Nazis demonstrate out Disney World entrance. Yeah, I'm not getting anything about Walt Disney because, yeah. So there we go. Let's talk about show news. Show news. We got a lot of exciting show news this week. We got our first little taste of what the Penguin show is going to be. Colin Farrell did an interview for something. It's set 1 week after the Batman. Colin Farrell says he read the script for the first episode and it opens up with the Penguin's feet in Falcone's office with the water in the floor.
Ooh.
So it's like right after.
He's an actual penguin.
He's an actual penguin. He should be swimming around like that.
He waddles around.
That's how Danny DeVito is in that one. Which I saw Danny DeVito did an interview where he said that he preferred his penguin over Colin's, and I have to agree. But yeah, I'm excited for that. It'll be interesting to see like the immediate fallout of that, because I'm sure Batman 2 is going to take place like months after. So. Also, Percy Jackson show news. Haven't talked about this at all, but I saw that Adam Copeland, a.k.a. The Edge from Money Plane, is going to be in the Percy Jackson show. Money Plane is probably the best movie I have not
love
seen.
Money Plane. We should watch Money Plane.
We can watch Money Plane.
I'm down for Money Plane.
Okay, we'll watch Money Plane. Next
Money Plane review in 2 weeks. Actually, no.
No, it'll be next week.
Yeah, we have time now.
Next week, we'll have a Money Plane reaction. Well, not reaction, but a review.
Review, yeah.
That'll be so much fun. So look forward to that. And then we'll watch the Percy Jackson show because we have to see where this guy goes.
Yeah. We're going to follow his career closely.
We'll have to watch every single wrestling match he's ever been in.
I've watched a lot of Edge back in my day, so.
Oh, were you an Edge fan?
I think Babjad was a huge Edge fan.
Oh, so
I think he was actually his favorite for a long time, I think.
Oh, so he should be excited to watch Money Plane.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. I'm excited to watch Money Plane now. In weird show news, a Gangs of New York TV show is in the works. The Martin Scorsese movie, with Scorsese set to executive produce and direct the first 2 episodes. I don't know what to think about this one. I've seen Gangs of New York. It's a fine movie. It's hard to say that any movie that has Daniel Day-Lewis is bad, but I think this is probably his worst movie. Not to say that Daniel Day-Lewis was bad in it. Daniel Day-Lewis did a bunch of crazy stuff for the movie. He did a whole bunch of research on old New York accents and like recreated it perfectly to the point where Martin Scorsese said, "You need to tone it down because people can't understand what you're saying." He's that good. He's so in depth with whenever he acts. I doubt he's gonna be in this show because Daniel Day-Lewis has quote unquote retired. We all know that's a fake. Hopefully. I'm hoping it's a fake.
Who knows?
It's like whenever Miyazaki from Ghibli, the Ghibli movies, he always retires and then like 5 years later he comes back. He's just like, okay, yeah, you're retired. You're like 90 and you're writing and directing another movie. It's like you're never gonna retire. I'm hoping Daniel Day-Lewis is the same way, but I could see Daniel Day-Lewis drop off the face of the earth. Last movie he was in was 2017, The Phantom Thread, which I have not seen, but hopefully he comes back. If Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't think Leo's even going to be in this show. Leo's too big to be on TV. I feel like Leo's strictly a film
Has
guy.
he ever been in a TV show? I feel like he hasn't.
I mean, probably back in the day, but probably not recently, which is weird because of how big TV is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to tell. He has too many credits. It doesn't look like he's ever. Oh wait, this is producing. Why would it go to producing first with Leonardo DiCaprio? He was in Growing Pains.
Awesome.
He was in The New Lassie. Okay, and he was in
My favorite.
Parenthood.
Ooh, better.
Yeah, the original one from the 90s. Okay. So when he was a kid, he was on TV. And then as soon as he did Titanic, he was like, I'm done with that. Which I guess makes sense. So, yeah, I have no idea what this show is going to be then. Because the two main characters are not in it. Probably. If Daniel Day-Lewis comes back for the Gangs of New York TV show, I would be pissed, but I would watch it. So, there's that. Let's get into movie news. We have not finished The Sopranos yet, so we can't talk about it. We have one episode left, I think.
Of season 1.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We have not finished season 1 of The Sopranos. But we'll talk about that next time.
Taking a while.
It's fine. We'll get there. Movie news. Dune 2 got a new release date. November 3rd of next year. I doubt it. I seriously doubt that the movie is going to come out then. They haven't even started shooting yet. Usually a good rule of thumb for movies is when they wrap shooting, then about a year, and then it comes out. Especially with something like Dune 2, which is going to be VFX heavy, you gotta give like a year and a half, at least, for stuff like that. Or maybe I don't know if Dune 2 is Warner Brothers. Maybe Warner Brothers is really pushing it because they're like, we need a hit right now. We are going bankrupt. Which I have a suggestion for Warner Brothers. If you're going bankrupt, maybe don't acquire Discovery.
Yeah, maybe you can chill on the mergers a little bit.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, if merging into Discovery has caused you to do massive layoffs and limited your film release schedule, maybe a bad idea. But I'm not a businessman. Maybe it is a good idea. Maybe it's a good idea to shut down half your projects and lay off like thousands of people.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's good business is what it is.
They know what they're doing.
I doubt it. I doubt that the CEO is competent because he is making a bunch of bad moves. We got some.
It's all part of his master plan.
It's all part of his chess game.
He's gonna sell Warner Brothers.
Oh, to who? It's like one of the biggest studios.
Bigger.
Amazon.
There's always a bigger fish. Yeah,
Probably to me or
Kanye.
something.
Could be Amazon. Prime Video doesn't hit that much. You know.
The Boys and Miss Maisel. That's it.
Yeah, they got like a couple.
Yeah. And I guess I'm not caught up in Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, I guess they do have Lord of the Rings as well.
The new show, it's all out. I just have not seen it. I saw like the first 3 episodes and I stopped watching it, so maybe I should watch it. I'm too busy watching all these movies. We got some news about the new Avatar movie. The one that is set, that it's like the gang as young adults, i.e. all those kind of like flashbacks from Korra, just a movie at We got the studio that is working on it. It is the Flying Bark Studios, who they did the Rise of the TMNT movie, and most recently they are in charge of the Marvel's What If show. Honestly, I do not like the animation in What If. I think it is really bad. But
TMNT, though, it hits hard.
I have not seen Rise of the TMNT.
Someone posted some action scenes from that. I'm like, oh, that looks pretty sick.
Okay. I mean...
We could have a mixed bag here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yes, this movie. Yeah, this movie did look good. I think I was just not a fan of the animation style in What If. I watched, like, the first episode, and I'm like, whoa, it was, like, cel-shaded in like a weird way, and then the animation didn't really look right. But I mean, I think it has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So who am I? What do I know about animation when Rotten Tomatoes gives it 200%? So, bros, it's out on VOD. If you have not seen it yet, please watch Bros. It's a great film. And now you don't have to go to a stinky, dusty movie theater to go see it, you scoundrels. So watch Bros. I don't know what it's on, because it isn't out yet, but by the time this podcast comes out, it's going to be out. So I think it comes out tomorrow. So I'll let you know next week, but I probably won't remember. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio debuted at, I think, a London film festival. Led to one of my favorite videos of the year, where Guillermo del Toro on the red carpet posing with this little puppet. It was very cute. Guillermo del Toro is one of the cutest directors, I'll say it. I hope nobody corrects me and points at a cuter director, but I think Guillermo del Toro might have the...
He is pretty cute. He's got that charm to him.
He's a cutie for sure.
If I were a director, I know I'd be taking that spot.
That's true, actually.
Well, you better get to directing then.
Nah.
Okay.
He's got it.
He can have it. Yeah, so it debuted at a London Film Festival. The reviews are coming in. It's getting rave reviews, as expected. It has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. But it only has 8 reviews. So, but 100% is a 100%. Next up, we got some news that Matt Reeves is planning the Batman spin-off movies and series based on Batman's Rogues Gallery, which is a fancy word for the Batman villains. I think Rogues Gallery is like an old-timey term for like a police lineup thingy. I think they used to call that a Rogues Gallery. So that's what they call all the Batman villains.
Interesting.
Yeah. The spin-off movies and shows, he specifically mentioned 3, and I gotta say, weird picks. But I'm all for it, because they are things that we have not seen in live action. Well, technically we've seen one, but barely. Scarecrow, Clayface, and Professor Pig. Do you guys know who Professor Pig is?
Nah.
Okay. Professor Pig, he's in Arkham Knight, which is how I know him. In Arkham Knight, his thing is that he is a serial killer who like leaves bodies all over the place.
Oh, it's PYG.
PYG. Yes, but I believe
he's cool.
He has like a pig mask, if I remember right.
Yeah, he looks kind of sick actually.
He's a serial killer. He's trying to like perfect the human body. So like the people that he
It's like me.
exactly.
Body dysmorphia gang.
The people that are killed are like people that are failed experiments. And so it's an interesting concept. Definitely something original. We have not seen anything even close to that. I guess the Riddler was kind of close to that in this newest movie, but
Yeah, he's just an incel.
he was just an incel Zodiac killer. Scarecrow, he's like barely in the Dark Knight trilogy. He's like in Batman Begins for like a second, and then in the beginning of the Dark Knight when Batman says, "I'm not wearing hockey pads." He's breaking up like a Scarecrow thing, but we never actually see him like as the Scarecrow, who was like really, really intimidating and cool. And then Clayface, I can't believe we haven't done a Clayface one yet. Clayface is awesome. Maybe lay off like the big goopy form and then just have him be kind of like a chameleon or something, because that's how he is in like some other Batman media where you can kind of like blend in and play other characters and stuff. Interesting choices. You can tell that Matt Reeves is into the universe, not like Zack Snyder. Not like that needs to be said, but yeah.
Anytime we can throw shade on Zack Snyder is a good time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing it every single time. Batman v Superman is the worst. It's the worst Batman, and I hate that people think that Ben Affleck is a good Batman. He might be a good Batman, just a bad director and writer, cinematographer. But he didn't do the cinematography for that movie. Now we need to talk about the movies I saw. A little bit of a film festival. I will be issuing a content warning later on, but for now, we'll just talk about stuff generally. I watched 4 movies. Get Out, which I've already seen, but I saw it again. The Straight Story, that is directed by David Lynch, produced by Disney. Weirdest combination I've ever seen. Perfect Blue, an anime movie. Surprisingly, our friend Grant, who's a big weeb, did not recommend this one to me. I saw it on my own
Did it on
volition.
your own accord? That's crazy.
Yes. I believe Grant may have brought it up as being one that is like, when I have complaints about anime, he was like, this is one that is not like that. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it was on Shudder, and I'm like, whatever. I'll get a Shudder free subscription, free week, so I can watch it. Then I watched Midsummer. I did an Ari Aster film festival, but I'm going to do... I'll save that for last, because there are a lot of serious stuff to talk about, and I feel like I need to issue a serious content warning when we're talking about Ari Aster's filmography. So we'll get to that. But first thing I wanted to talk about was Get Out, a movie that I had not seen probably since it came out. I don't remember when we watched it. It's probably like 2018, because I think the movie came out in 2017. I think we saw it around the time it came out. I do not remember. Do you remember when we saw it?
I feel like it's a year after it came out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was something like that. So I had not seen it in a long time. Watching it again, knowing the twist, very good. I should have thought about that when I was talking about films that are better on a second viewing last week, but I hadn't seen it for a second time. So this time I really noticed it. I wanted to bring up something interesting that Get Out does that I have not seen in a movie that deals with race. Because a lot of films that depict racism or race issues, especially when it comes to racism towards black people in America, it tends to be kind of the general white supremacist, that the white race is better than the black race. Which, while not, like, I'm trying to word this correctly.
You're doing really good.
I'm just explaining, because Get Out does the exact opposite. It's kind of like, how anti-Semitism is like the opposite of racism towards black people, where it's like white people are anti-Semitic towards Jewish people, not because they think that they're worse than white people, but because they think that they're these like almighty overlords that control everything, and they control the media and they control the banking system. It's like no racist white person thinks that about a black person. That's kind of what Get Out is, where, spoiler alert for Get Out.
Not again.
You should have seen this movie at this point.
At this point, it's kind of become a horror classic.
No excuses.
But I'll just still issue it. The white people in the movie do not view black people as less than them. They view black people as something to be admired, something to be objectified, something to be
othered,
fashionable.
I think that's the term.
Yes,
it's othered.
They are othered, but because the whole thing is, again, that was a little break for the spoiler warning. That the old white people that live out in the country, they pay to have this procedure done where they are transferred into the body of a black person that has been lured in by the daughter of this family. And it's very explicitly said that it is like almost like circumstantial. The main guy, the guy who's trying to get into Daniel Kaluuya's body, who's played by Fuchs from Barry, which he's in everything. It's just like, Fuchs.
Yeah.
But his whole thing is that he's like, I don't care what color your skin is. I just want eyes, because he's blind. And he was a photographer, and Daniel Kaluuya is a photographer, so he's like, I don't care what color skin you are. I don't care what kind of body you have. I want your eyes, because you are such a good photographer, and I'm blind. But other characters that are also kind of auctioning to get into Daniel Kaluuya's body, they like were once golf stars. And there's this one guy who was this huge golf guy, and he was like, I want to be able to play golf again. I don't care what color your skin is. But black people are known for being good athletes, so that's kind of why I want to do this. Or it's like, black is very in fashion nowadays, so then that's why that guy wants to do it. And then one chick's like, oh, is it true that you have a big cock? She doesn't say it like that because she's old white lady, but that's what she's implying. So it's like, the stereotypes that black people are like sexualized. It's very interesting. And something I didn't catch on the first go, especially since I hadn't seen a lot of movies.
What did you catch on the first go?
Not much, apparently. Well, I hadn't seen a lot of movies dealing with race. At this point, I've seen my fair share of Spike Lee joints and Moonlight, Beale Street, American History X. I've seen my fair share of racism movies. I really like racism movies. Don't take that out of context.
It's a racist thing.
No, it's not true. I find the concept fascinating, where it's like, this is something that's so far removed from something that I get and something that I think is inherently evil. And I like seeing racists get the shit kicked out of them, which is what happens in Black Klansman. That's not a spoiler warning. Well, kind of. Whatever.
Wow.
Watch Black Klansman. It's a really, really good movie. Might be one of Spike Lee's best. Not might be. It is one of his best. It's not as good as Do the Right Thing, but it's pretty good. Yeah, Get Out. I did want to say, I was I saw this at a film club that they do at my school. They had some members of the Black Student Union come in and lead the discussion, which I thought was pretty good, because they had some insights that I wouldn't have got as a white dude who grew up in suburban Midwest area. So they had some interesting things to say. I thought it was really funny because like in the movie there's like a bunch of things where it's like the white dad's like, I would have voted for Obama a third time. And like the golf guy's like, Tiger, the best golfer I ever saw. It's just like, that thing where like white people like, I know black people are cool, right? Huh? One of the chicks that was there was like, oh man, I just saw this movie for the first time and I gotta say it's better than like every other horror movie I've ever seen. I'm like, chill out. That's kind of the vibes that I was getting. So
that's just white people.
I know.
That's gonna happen.
I know.
That's what systematic and deep rooted white supremacy that this country is built off of has done. And that's just how it's gonna be.
It was crazy.
It's impossible to avoid.
It was crazy watching the movie and then having that. And then immediately after, during the discussion, being like, that was like one of the best horror movies. It was better than The Shining. And I'm like, okay, chill a bit there. Which, if you genuinely think that Get Out is better than The Shining, that's fine. But it sounded like that she was just saying that because there were members of the Black Student Union there. So that was just a little fun anecdote, if you want to say that. Let's talk about The Straight Story, David Lynch joint, produced by Disney. I did a little funny Snapchat where it's literally how the movie starts. You press play and it says Walt Disney presents a David Lynch film. That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And it's just like, it's David Lynch's simplest movie. It's not a movie that makes you want to die or crawl into a dark hole and get existential. It's like David Lynch made an actual movie and not some super artsy, heady picture. I don't know how he got picked to do this, honestly, but the story of it is there's this old dude who grows up in Lorenz, Iowa. That's pretty sick because I'm from there. Not from that city, but from the state. He's from Lorenz, Iowa. He's like blind. He can't walk around. He's like a smoker. He's like going to die in a couple years. He has so many things wrong with him. And he's like kind of been I kind of like separated from his brother. His brother and him had a big falling out like 10 years ago. Haven't talked to each other. And one day he finds out that his brother had a big stroke. And he was like, well, crap. I want to see my brother one more time before either I or him die. I want to make up to him. I want to apologize. Can't drive. No one I know would be willing to drive me, and I'm not going to ask because I'm too stubborn. I'm going to drive my riding lawnmower from Lorenz, Iowa to, I forget, it's some place in Wisconsin. So it's like southwestern Iowa to like southwestern Wisconsin on a riding lawnmower that goes 10 miles an hour. It's based on a real story, and David Lynch directed it and wrote it. Honestly, it might be my favorite David Lynch movie because of the aforementioned not making me want to crawl into a hole and die. Yeah, it's just a really simple story, but it has that kind of Twin Peaks quirk that is in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
How people talk to each other at all,
Yeah.
And
it's like exaggerated character traits.
Yes, which is, you gotta love it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's so good.
So, yeah, I think it's a very good movie. And it was on Disney+, which I'm like, okay, that's so weird to see a David Lynch movie on Disney+. I searched if there were any other David Lynch movies on Disney+, and there were not, unfortunately. Because I think Disney+ would love to get Mulholland Drive. That sounds like a Disney+ movie. So yeah, check that one out. Honestly, like every single movie I saw this weekend was like phenomenal. So check out all of these movies. I think all of these I gave 4 stars or higher. Not all the short films. We'll get to that. Perfect Blue, the anime movie. It's about a pop star that wants to transition. She's like in a J-pop group. There's like 3 girls, and she's kind of like the lead singer.
She has to enlist in the South Korean military.
Not this time. Not this time. but it came out in like 1999. So like the kind of transition from pop star into normal person was kind of like happening, you know? I feel like the early 2000s was like kind of a wake up call where like all these tweeny pop stars were like doing all this controversial stuff, like Amanda Bynes and Britney Spears, whatever. So it was in the forefront of people's minds. Little did we know that they had horrible things happen to them. But, you know, Jay Leno still making jokes. Perfect Blue is basically like that. If, like, you know, we knew all the Britney Spears stuff as it was happening. I don't know what it's based on or if it's based on anything. But
I feel like there's too many cases to base it on one thing.
Yeah, it might just... But it's still, like, ahead of its time. In, like, 1999. I don't know what the Japan scene was, because there is that disconnect a little bit.
There is, but I feel like, especially South Korea is... Well, South Korea and Japan are, like, hyper capitalist in that way.
Yeah.
Where, like, K-pop stars are, like, wage slaves almost.
Groomed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting movie. Because it's technically a horror movie. It's on Shudder. If it's on Shudder, it means it's a horror movie.
In some form.
In some form. But yeah, she leaves her pop group and she wants to be an actress. She gets picked up to be in this like NCIS show as like an extra, and her agents are like really pushing her to do these things. And meanwhile, she has like this stalker that's following her and thinks that her leaving the group and becoming this actress that is like that's doing like all these adult roles and things, that's like killing her character in a way, like killing her. So there's like this big conflict. It feels like a real thing. Like that is totally something that I could see happening. This dude was probably reading Catcher in the Rye.
Yep.
The guy that killed John Lennon read Catcher in the Rye, and he's
like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Funny joke. Ha ha ha. But then there's like this weird anime twist, because there has to be an anime twist, where she's seeing like the spirit of her pop idol self. And it's really interesting, because there's points where the spirit interacts with people and it seems like that people are reacting to it. And then there are moments where the spirit like walks through people and people don't know what it is. So there are a lot of things where it's like, is this really happening? What is real? Which I know some people hate, but I love that kind of stuff. And then there's like, the whole third act goes so off the rails. I had no idea what was happening. There's like 3 endings to this movie. And the first one, I'm like, oh, that is like really sad. And then it got worse and worse. I think in my review that I did on Letterboxd, I kind of said that it reminded me of like tonally of like Doki Doki or something like Omori, which are 2 games that on their surface are traditional kind of Omoris and kind of Earthbound style RPG, and Doki Doki is a visual novel, dating sim type thing. And then just there's something that happens, and then they drastically change as to what they are. Perfect Blue is a movie version of that. It is insanely good. It's one of the highest rated things on Letterboxd, and I think that is deserved. Very, very good flick. Check out that one if you have Shudder, because I think that's like the only thing it's on. Japanese movies are kind of hard to get over here, because streaming services don't want to get them because they're too much of a risk. Unless they're Ghibli movies, then HBO Max will eat those up. But that's it for movies I saw. Content warning. If you are sensitive to sexual assault, mental health issues, gaslighting, domestic abuse, girl bossing, incest.
Oh.
Turn the podcast off now.
Yeah.
This is...
Make sure to rate us 5 stars.
Rate us 5 stars first, and then sit the rest of this one out. Because I am going to be doing a deep dive on Ari Aster's filmography. Last week, I watched Hereditary, and it moved me in a way that a movie has not in a very, very long time. I bumped it up to 5 stars. I think it is a perfect movie. And something really weird happened to me. I became kind of enthralled with Ari Aster and everything that he has done. I have been listening to a bunch of interviews that he has been doing about both Hereditary and Midsummer, and I watched all of his short films. Some of them were phenomenal. I absolutely loved them. One of them was a Tim and Eric sketch. It was kind of all over the board. So the first one I want to talk about is The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. I think this is his most popular short film. It is his senior thesis when he was in film school at the AFI, American Film Institute. In interviews, he was talking about how he wanted, when you go to like film school, and this was my experience too, when you go in and you go to like the film orientation thing, they show you a bunch of thesis movies that were produced at the school, and they're like, this could be you. You could make the best movie ever right here. It's like, wow, that's awesome. I can't wait to do that. Ari Aster saw that and was like, I want to make the worst thing possible and see if they'll still let me pass. And what he made was an incest movie. It is one of the most uncomfortable things that I have ever watched in my whole entire life. I just want to talk about the opening scene. The rest of the short film you should watch yourself. It's on YouTube. Unfortunately, the highest quality thing I could find was 4080p, or not 4080, but 480p.
That's very high.
Very high. That's 4K.
Yeah. Oh man.
That's crazy.
No, 480. Your SD. I could not find a rip of this that was high quality, but in my opinion, you do not need the definition to get what is happening in this film.
Well, I think I do.
Well, maybe. And this is by far his longest short film. It's about half an hour long, which usually short films are 15 minutes to 20. This one's pretty long. But the film starts, and it's like a 11-year-old kid. He's jerking off, but it's like under the covers, so you can't see it. And he's like looking at a Polaroid. And then his dad walks in on him, and he's like, "Oh, sorry," and he closes the door. And he comes back in. He's like, "Oh, okay, I just want to like tell you what you were doing was completely natural. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and I shouldn't have barged in on you. That was my bad."
Dad.
Yeah, he's a good dad. He's like, "Oh, that was completely my fault." He's a good dad. He's a good dad. He's like, it's fine. He's like, "Okay, I love you, son." And then the son doesn't say anything, but then as the dad is like walking to the door, the son like sits up and he's like, "Do you love me, Dad?" And Dad's like, "Yeah, of course." And he like walks out, and then it's revealed the Polaroid he was looking at was of his dad.
Yo.
The rest of the movie, the son, it's so heart crushing. The son has been molesting and sexually assaulting his own father for like his entire life up until his wedding day. On his wedding day, he takes his dad out like behind a fence and like blows him. And then the mom catches him. It is like one of the most chilling things I have ever seen. It is so sad, and it's just like it completely ruins this guy. I mean, as abuse does, but just to like, it's so gross. But there's this scene, the famous bathtub scene, which if you haven't seen,
It's not a beach, it's a bathtub.
it's not a beach, it's a bathtub. That's where it's from.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not that one.
Oh, dang it.
If you've ever seen, it's like a gif of like a middle-aged black dude like screaming in the tub. I had seen like the photo of it before. I don't know. But there's that scene where it's like the breaking point where the son like does something unspeakable to the dad, and the wife hears it. She like hears her husband screaming in the bathroom down the hall, and she's just like in her bedroom just like looking at the TV, and she just turns up the volume. And it's like it's so it's so crushing. It's really something you need to see to really get how it feels, but it is so crushing. But I would highly recommend it. It's a very good movie. There's other short movie I watched that I would fully recommend is The Turtle's Head. I believe this is his last short movie before making Hereditary. The Turtle's Head is a noir short movie where it's like it says, okay, this one's more of a comedy. It is a comedy more than anything. It's a noir movie, and the noir is like following this detective who's like a sexual deviant. He's like all of the female clients that come into his office, he just wants to bang. And the crux of the movie is that it's like the noir narration as like there's this case that's like actually happening, and this dude just wants to get his dick wet, but throughout the entire movie his dick is shrinking, and he like keeps showing his dick to everybody, and they're like, it looks fine, and he's like, it was bigger yesterday. You gotta believe me. And it's kind of funny. That one's only like 10 minutes. I would recommend that one. That one's really funny. And then I watched Midsummer. Midsummer, very, very, I think it's an acclaimed movie. I think people like this movie. By the way, I looked up the CineScore for Hereditary, and it's a D-. People, you need to change that. Why is it a D-? It's like one of the best movies I've ever seen. I didn't see Midsummers, but that was just a little tangent. I watched Midsummer. I think I've seen some videos on it. I think people are a little off base, honestly, because it's not a cult movie. People describe it as a cult movie. As someone who has looked into cults, I don't think it's a cult in the traditional sense, or in the realistic sense. It might be in the traditional sense. I don't know. But, modern day cults are more or less kind of scams that benefit one person, the leader. There is no leader who is benefiting in the Midsummer cult. It is just a highly traditional Swedish thing. But that movie starts sad. Like Hereditary, there's like multiple scenes of like people absolutely devastated and destroyed. Midsummer starts where it's this girl, Danny, and she got an email from her sister who's bipolar that's like super cryptic, where it's like, everything has gone black, I'm taking mom and dad with me, whatever, just stuff like that. And she's like freaking out, and her boyfriend is emotionally distant. We get clips of her boyfriend out with his friends, and his friends are all telling him to dump her. It's like, oh, you need to find someone that likes sex and who won't care that you're out with your boys all the time. Whatever.
I'm with the boys.
And like, there's scenes with Danny in the beginning where she's talking to her therapist, and she's like, I'm leaning on him too much. And she's like, that's the point. You're supposed to be able to lean on your partner, and he's supposed to be able to lean on you. And she's like, well, I've never even seen him cry. He's fine. I just feel really bad. Stuff that is very relatable to be. And then like in the first, like after all that stuff is set up, where it's kind of set up that the relationship's on the rocks. This sister thing is like really, really making Danny. It's affecting her in a lot of ways because she's like trying to reach out. Nobody's responding. She's calling her parents. Nobody's responding. She's kind of freaking out. Then it's revealed that her parents were killed by her sister. It's in a murder-suicide where she did like a carbon monoxide thing. She filled the house with carbon monoxide. The parents died in their sleep, and then the sister killed herself with the carbon monoxide poisoning. So basically her entire family is killed in the first 5 minutes. In which case, you just see Danny destroyed. Like, you see multiple characters in Hereditary emotionally destroyed. She is just sobbing. Her boyfriend's just kind of like sitting there and just kind of letting it happen. I really hate the boyfriend in this movie. He's kind of the worst. But whatever. But there's like this thing. So it's like, okay, they were going to break up, but now they're kind of, he's like, well, I don't want to break up with her because, you know, what she's going through right now. I don't want to add that on top of it. And so there's like this thing. He and all of his friends are like PhD students. And one of them is doing his thesis on European midsummer traditions. And luckily one of the guys is from Sweden. He's from this small little village in Sweden where they do a midsummer festival. So they're all going to go to Sweden to observe this festival and write the thesis about it. And so they begrudgingly ask Danny to go with them. And that's where the story goes. That's where I'm just going to call them a cult because that's what everyone else calls them. I did watch this video essay by a guy that did not know what he was talking about. And he got really upset that people were pronouncing the movie Midsommar. And then he proceeded to call the guy Ari Aster, which I think his name is Ari Aster. So I thought that was kind of funny, where he was mad about people mispronouncing the movie's title and then mispronounced the director's name. But, you know, I don't know. I don't really want to go into the details of the movie because I think it is a movie that people should see.
I'm never watching that movie.
Okay. It's not scary. The thing with Midsummer, I think it gets a bad rap. There's one scene in particular that is especially gruesome, and that is like one of the first scenes in the village. It's like one of the first days that they're there. There is this ceremony. If you're never going to see it, I can talk about it. Then you can decide for yourself if this is too much.
Oh, I'm never going to see that.
Okay, fine. But there are like 2 scenes that are especially gruesome. And the first one happens, there's like this, the first thing that they do, this whole ideology, this tradition that they have is that your life is divided into 4 seasons. So from like birth until you're like in your mid-20s, that is spring. And then your mid-20s to your like end of 30s into your 40s, that is summer. That's where you go on your pilgrimage and experience the world, and then you come back. And then you're in your working years from mid-30s until your late 50s. And then after that, you are in like your winter period where you are like a spiritual leader and a kind of leader of the tribe. By the time you hit, I think it's like 72, 74, you die. And it is like a choice, which is kind of a thing, right? Where it's like people choose to have like physician assisted suicides if they get too old and if they're dealing with something they don't want to suffer. I was like, okay, I kind of get it. That is something that happens in real life. The way they do it in the movie, they get the 2 oldest people and they push them off a cliff. And that's
awesome.
It is. Okay, there wasn't a whole lot of gore in Hereditary, but most of it was done with CGI. The gore in this movie is so realistic. The first lady, she like goes over the cliff and she kind of like does like a dive. So she lands on her head first. So she's out like immediately. The old man that jumps off, he jumps feet first. That's
a rookie mistake.
If you're gonna kill yourself, why would you go feet first? So he goes and he just breaks his legs, like every single bone in his leg is broken. And so then some dude with a big old mallet has to come over and smash the dude's head in. That's probably the worst thing that happens in the movie, gore wise. And of course, this traumatizes Danny because, yeah, her parents her whole entire family was just killed. And now she just watched 2 people commit suicide, although it was willingly. Yeah, and everybody just kind of watched. That's the thing. And then I do kind of want to talk about the ending. So spoilers for Midsummer going forward. But I've just seen some people miss the mark here. And I don't think that it was intended. People think that this has a happy ending. I don't know where they're getting that from. So throughout the last act of the movie, each of the friends that go with the boyfriend to Sweden are picked off. And you don't really see it. Mostly it's off screen. But by the time the end of the movie comes, then it's kind of revealed that, the guys that went on the pilgrimage, they were trying to bring sacrifices. It's this ritual that they do every 90 years where they have to bring in a certain number of human sacrifices. Most of them are from the outside, but a couple of them are from the inside. So it was the guys that were going on their pilgrimage. They were bringing human sacrifices. And so all of the friends and the boyfriend is eventually chosen to go as human sacrifices. Danny is made the kind of queen of the festival. She wins this competition where basically all of the women have to dance until they drop, and then whoever stays up the longest, they're crowned May Queen. And so then she is crowned May Queen, and so she gets to decide who gets to die. And so she chooses her boyfriend because a couple scenes earlier, she found her boyfriend doing the nasty with one of the cult members. But little did she know that the boyfriend was drugged and forced into this sexual act against his will. Some people gloss over the fact that that is rape. That is rape, if you ask me. So it's more of a tragedy that Danny picks him to be killed because she did not know the full thing that was going on. And then immediately after he is done with the deed, they give him a drug that paralyzes him. So he cannot tell her what really happened, what really went down. So the end of the movie is all of these corpses that are in this big temple that are getting burned, and all of the cult members are crying, but then it cuts to Danny and she is looking at this big burning building with all of these, some dead people, some alive people, and there's just a slight smile that creeps across her face. In my opinion, not a good ending. Not a happy ending. I don't know where people are getting that assumption that it is a happy ending. I get that there is some sort of catharsis to seeing all of these douchebags get their... None of them deserved to die. They were just kind of dicks. And especially in such gruesome ways. Her boyfriend he's paralyzed, but he's placed in a bear carcass. So they skin a bear and then they put his body in the bear. And then he's just completely awake while he's burned alive in this building. I think it's it's the first time you ever see her smile. She is so devastated throughout the entire movie. I guess that is something that people are oh, Yes, finally, she's healing. She's moving on. And it's like, no. Now she's in the cult. And now she's like, I don't know. Her personality has been kind of I don't know. Can't be fixed. She is damaged, as the Joker would say. So, yeah. If you haven't seen the movie and you want to see it now that I spoiled the ending, I'd still recommend it. It's not as good as Hereditary. I would recommend Hereditary way more. I think Hereditary is one of those movies where, even if you're not really into horror movies, I think it's a really, really good movie. Not his best. Well, no, it is his best. Midsummer's not his best. I think Midsummer I gave 4 stars.
Midsummer, more like midsummer.
That was an easy joke. I should have said that.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
I do all the comedy writing.
That's right. But it wasn't mid. It was very well made. All of the effects were great. The acting is phenomenal. I don't know. Whenever he talks about his directing, like, he's gotten many questions in like the Q&As I watched him do, where they're like, "How do you get these kind of performances out of people?" Because Toni Collette probably gives one of the best performances I've ever seen in Hereditary. And he's like, it's just all in the script. Like, I don't really do anything. Like, I just kind of give them tips. Like, okay, that's not an answer. Like, even if that's true, it's like, what do you mean give them tips? He's such like a weird dude, which I somehow, I should have seen that coming. But I am a very big fan of this man. I'm very excited for Disappointment Boulevard, which comes out next year. Another A24 Ari Aster production. So I will keep you posted about that. But as of now, I have seen his entire filmography, and I loved it. So there you go. That was my film festival I had this weekend. I won't have that again, but we might talk about Money Plane next time.
Yeah.
Depends on what else we're gonna see. I'll have to do some digging. I'm sure I'll be able to find some good Halloween bad movies. I know I'll be able to. I have.
It's like the easiest genre to get bad movies on.
I really want to watch Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, but that's a Christmas one, so we'll save that.
Okay.
So I'll find some Halloween ones. I know there's a lot of B movies that are rock and roll Halloween related, or it's, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but there's enough movies where it is a subgenre, where it is rock and roll Halloween flicks.
Perfect.
So we'll see what I can dig up, see what I can find. Next week we'll be talking about those if they warrant discussion. I don't think we've talked about bad movies, really, on this show. The best ones that we've seen recently are the Rudy Ray Moore films.
True.
Those have been great. Dolomite, the Disco Godfather, each of them are funny. Put your weight on it. We might see P.D. Wheatstraw. I'd like to watch P.D. Wheatstraw. We still have 2 that we have not seen. But we'll get to that next time. We can move on to the music segment of the podcast.
That's my segment.
It's your segment. I have a couple of things,
crazy.
but you're probably going to talk about them.
I doubt it.
Okay.
Wise Blood had a new song, Grapevine. Very good, very good.
Is it better than the Marvin Gaye song?
To be determined.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like both the singles for this record are pretty sick so far. So I am very excited for November 18th when this comes out. I think that's the day it's coming out. But yeah, we'll have a reaction to that. So
Yes.
it's out there, but Grapevine, very good, very good. What else we got? We got King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, album 2, Laminated Denim. Sorry to everybody who is in the comment section of Ice Mushroom blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There won't be a reaction to this, but I'll talk about it right now.
Yeah.
So that'll suffice. Yeah, everybody expected Timeland 2, which is what I expected, and then we didn't get that at all. It's got the same concept in the fact that like there's a ticking clock that's the baseline of every song, and that is the only constant. It's like a polyrhythm in the song. But then they just built this like huge, insane, like progressive rock, psychedelic type thing over the top of it, and it is very good. I think most people said this in the comments, but yes, it did blow everybody's expectations away from it. I don't think people were expecting something like this because I was expecting more EDM because that's what Timeland was. Which I re-listened to Timeland and I do like it more than I did the first time. That's probably because I'm listening to it on good headphones and not a record player on an unofficial record release of it.
Yeah.
Because that was the only way you could do it before. But it is on Spotify now.
Epic.
So it's not listed as an album though. It's listed as a single for some reason. Even though Laminated Denim is the same length and it's listed as an album. But yeah, this is a very, very, very good little 30-minute piece. It's kind of similar to the Dripping Tap, except I would argue that it's probably better because like you just get these 2 tracks for it. In 30 minutes, there's a lot more switch ups. There's a lot. It's a very fun listen. There's not too much to dig into with it, but like I am glad that it's this high of a quality for this. This kind of seemed like the tiny little album that they threw in there, but it's definitely still worth your time. No pun intended. I didn't even try to do that. I'm just on it right now. They also released another new song today as a recording. Hate Dancing. This is from Changes.
It's a great
which will
song.
be coming out on the 28th. I'm sure you like this song a lot better than I do because this is like your jam when it comes to King Gizzard. So
yeah, it's a freaking Stevie Wonder song.
Yes,
it's awesome.
It really is. It's in the same key and everything.
Yeah, it's literally. I mean, when that started, I'm like, oh, this isn't she lovely?
Yep.
I'm like, oh, okay.
It's like so close.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm still excited for Changes. I think it's going to be a very like retro sounding record. Just
now
based
I'm
off like
more
the
excited.
cover and this single.
Yeah.
So we'll have a reaction to that one up as well. A lot of King Gizzard this month.
What can you do?
And they're pulling weight. All these have been really great so far. So they are just knocking it out of the park. Only other thing I have, I'm just speed running this because that's what I do.
Okay.
Saw Billy Woods on Friday.
Oh yeah.
He came to town for a free show on his Ethiops tour. I don't know how they pulled him for a free show, but it was definitely like one of the coolest concert experiences I've had. I went with my girlfriend. We went. It's in a restaurant.
It was in a restaurant?
On the UW campus.
Okay.
Which I was not expecting. It's in like this old, like memorial hall. So like we went up these huge steps, and it's all like pretty and there's like marble and everything. And then we go downstairs and it's like there's a UW shop for like campus stuff. And then there's just like this restaurant that's like themed as like old German like stuff. So they just had like beer and pretzels everywhere. And I'm like, this is crazy. And when we got to the show, we saw Billy Woods get out of the car in the parking ramp as we were parking. So we walked behind him on the way in, which was kind of wild.
Yeah.
I'm just like, look, he's right there. Yeah, that was super cool. Yeah, but Shrapnel opened for him. Shrapnel is also on Backwoods. It's Curly Castro and Prem Rock, that's what it is. There's too many Backwoods people at this point to keep up. But they did pretty good. Prem Rock did his DJing himself on stage. I feel like a lot of underground acts do that. Curly Castro did fantastic, amazing charisma and everything. It was like probably like 100-person show because it's like a free show in a restaurant with like tables out.
Yeah.
And it's not promoted that much. So it was very, very intimate. Like we were very close. It was awesome. But the sound in there was not bad either. I think they have concerts there like somewhat regularly. So like the sound system was actually pretty nice. But these are shows where like when you see Kendrick or whatever, it's more of a performance. So he obviously can't have breath control to do full verses, because it's physically impossible for a human to be able to do that when you're doing stage theatrics. This stuff, nah. This is like you're in a live studio setting. They will spit through entire verses flawlessly, just back to back to back to back. Something I haven't really like experienced in real life. I'm like, oh my god, they just go. Like this is what the studio version sounds like when they just like they get every single thing down perfectly. It's so nice. But yeah, they did great as an opener. And then Billy Woods probably had like an hour or 15-minute set. It was a very casual thing. It was a concert, but it was more of like a, like a secret little show. It was very intimate. Just cracking jokes the whole time. Just like, oh, let's run this one back. Let's just do this one. Which was a really cool vibe. That's what I kind of expected.
That sounds like perfect, actually.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were like front row. Seeing his face is like still a trip to me because he intentionally blurs his face online. That's part of his persona. You can only see his face when you see him in person. So like eyes are a big thing. You don't realize that until you never see someone's eyes.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, this is different. But he's always in character. He came out and he's like, can we dim these lights up here, please? Because like, you could see him pretty well. And then they dim the lights and I was like, yep, this is Billy Woods. But he played through some of Ethiop's. I was wondering how he was going to do that because in concert settings, you kind of want something with a heavier low end. Ethiop's has virtually no drums for the first 2 songs until like track 3 onward. So, I mean, he still stayed on beat. It was crazy. But he ran through the first 3. The drums on Warv's live is crazy. Yeah, but the flows are insane. You pick up on lyrical things more in person as well because you can hear it more clearly in the mix. But yeah, he ran through a lot of Ethiops. He did some of the new record Church as well. Church is still growing on me. It's so insanely good. I thought it was like kind of the afterthought of Ethiops, but it's on par with it. I think it's getting there at least. This man might have my 2 top rap albums this year, which is kind of wild.
What?
But those songs sounded so good live with the heavy bass on it. His DJ that he brought around as well was really, really good. He had like the old school turntable and drum machines hooked up to it. So like halfway through the set when he needed to get tea or whatever, the DJ just went off on made a beat live, did the whole record scratching and everything for like a 5-minute thing. And it was really cool. It felt like you were in like a New York underground hip hop club. Like this is actual underground hip hop. It was really amazing. He did like 4 off of Hiding Places, and Hiding Places has amazing like live bass lines. So going through the subwoofers was insane. But yeah, everybody knew all the songs. Like it was just a super cool vibe. Super chill. It's one of those things where it's like, especially with Billy Woods. I got this with Kendrick too, but we were so far away it didn't really sink in.
Yeah.
But like with Billy Woods, it's like his identity is secretive, but at the same time he runs an indie label. He's very out there, but like you don't realize that like the person. He's just got like such a cool, like chill vibe. Yeah, it was like a super intimate experience, super chill. I didn't get any records or anything, unfortunately. Their merch table was pretty low. I was gonna bring a vinyl and have him sign it, but like the vinyl that I have of his is very limited, and I wasn't gonna risk like having something happen to it or get it damaged in any way in transport or anything. But that's fine. It's the only concert I've never taken pictures of either. Like it literally felt like a listening party, like those things that people get invited to. But yeah, it was super super cool experience. Definitely recommend if you can ever see him on tour. We got in live, so super small crowd. But yeah, back on my Billy Woods. Got to sing praises to him pretty much every time his name comes up.
Yeah.
But yeah, a really great show.
Speaking of listening parties, this was the thing that you have not talked about. I don't know if you've even seen it. SZA had a kind of quasi listening party for her new record. Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah. I say quasi. It was 4 songs off the new record. She rented out like a trampoline dodgeball place and then people just showed up to play dodgeball with SZA, and then there was just 4 of her new songs playing through the speakers.
That's awesome.
So I don't know what that means.
She could drop this year still.
She has been mentioning, like, I'm on this new era. She's been mentioning a new album, like, throughout her tweets the past couple of weeks, so.
Yeah, I wonder if TD's finally going to let her
maybe
start a rollout process.
There's a big old rumor that the first single's coming out on Friday, but
Okay.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe. But
also, this just came out today. No Worries is back. Anderson .Paak and completely forgot his name. I'm a very good music journalist. No Worries is a group between
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Anderson .Paak and Knowledge. So yeah, they're having a new record come out. There was rumors of this, and it is coming true. There's a single coming out in a couple weeks, I think.
Oh,
unless it's like it might be this. Felt like it was the 28th. I could be wrong. But yeah, they're having a single come out. I'm guessing the album will follow soon after.
No, it'll probably take 5 months.
We're not dealing with but I'm excited for that. The first No Worries is a pretty cool record. I need to listen to it more. I feel like I never like fully got into it. But I'm very excited for that. So that's the other thing I forgot. But other than that, just been jamming Joy Division and King Gizzard, and
That's awesome.
You know how that be.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, I listened to the other Lizzie McAlpine record. I have Give Me a Minute on the Wheel. It's a great fall girl acoustic indie folk record. She had a new record, came out this year, in April. It's a transition. It is a stark change from the other record. Uses a lot of synth. This one I would say is more indie pop. It felt kind of like the new Lucy record, like that kind of music, which compared to just a guitar Nick Drake style was I was so surprised. There's like a thrash metal part of a song. It's like, okay, this is all over the place. I need to listen to it a little bit more, but there was some songs that stuck out kind of immediately where I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. But not at all what I was expecting, so I need to kind of go back and listen to that. Probably won't get to Fall Girl vibes for a while because I think we're going to be starting a fan marathon pretty soon.
Yeah, and it snowed this morning, so.
Oh, it didn't snow here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
I feel like there's a very brief fall moment there that was really nice. So hopefully that comes back.
Yeah, we haven't watched Over the Garden Wall yet, so.
Yeah.
I would like to do that before all the leaves come off. But we'll get
there.
So this week, well, Joy Division's coming out. Came out a couple days ago.
Yep.
So next week we're doing The Weeknd. And then the week after, I think we're going to do Arca. And then we'll do the fan marathon. I think that's the tentative schedule right now. And then new releases when they come out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out because we got to get Arca in there. And we have a lot of stuff we need to do, and there's not a lot of time to do it. So.
No.
Might be a little bit slower than we usually are uploading, but
it's fine.
They'll all come out. Don't you worry.
Yeah. We'll get there. But yeah, this weekend's going to be pretty busy with Babby coming down. So, but podcast should be the same. For the first time in a while, when we take a weekend off, now we record on Mondays.
Now we can actually still record it.
I forgot to mention we're switching to Wednesdays for the time being for podcast coming out. Sorry if this adversely affects your work schedule. We just didn't want to compete with the Always Sunny podcast. We know that there's a lot of overlap. So, decided maybe dropping on the same day. Maybe not the best idea. So, that's it. That's it for podcast this week. Tune in next week when we talk about I don't know what's gonna come out next week. Drake's new record.
Podcast.
I hope not. He needs to chill.
Among Us? Will we talk about Among Us? Oh wait, well we'll talk about Money.
We'll talk about Among Us when it comes out on VR.
Yes, on the 10th.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Money Plane next week, so get ready, because we're talking about Frasier and the Money Plane. I hope you've seen some Frasier.
I love Frasier.
Me too. Okay, bye-bye.